a 551-foot ship. Built in 1906, the Empress of Ireland was 551 feet long and sank in 1914. Now, the cause for the sinking was the Storstad, which is a Norwegian coal ship that was sold after the collision and later scrapped. So the Storstad was heading into Montreal. Now, the passage that they had to use to get to Montreal out into the Atlantic Ocean would be the St. Lawrence River, and that's where the collision happened. Now, the reason why the Storstad collided into the Empress was because of fresh, thick layers of fog that were on the St. Lawrence that night on the 29th of May. A new layer of fog had just been laid by nature as the Storstad's two navigational lights, one green and one white, I believe, appeared and began to become bigger and closer to the Empress of Ireland's starboard side, I believe. So, the ship, the Empress of Ireland, would sink in 14 minutes. Now you may be thinking, did the Storstad sink? Well, surprisingly, no, it did not. The Storstad stayed afloat, however, its bow was crushed inwards. So the Storstad stayed afloat and was also blamed for the incident, which became a disaster when 1,012 people died aboard the Empress of Ireland. 465 survived out of the 1,477 people aboard, making it the worst disaster in Canada's history, I believe, for peacetime and maybe in general, which nicknamed it Canada's Titanic. And Canada actually has the Titanic 400 miles off the coast of, I believe, Newfoundland. So, but it is not owned by Canada, I don't believe, the Titanic wreck. But it did sink 400 miles off the coast. So, anyways, the Empress of Ireland sits in 130 feet of water in the cold St. Lawrence. The ship would sink in 14 minutes, which was quicker than the 18-minute sinking of the Lusitania. Very quick. However, there was a small pause during the sinking when the port hull was popping out of the water before the bridge and the port hull slid under. Now, people were clinging onto the sides of the port hull as it was washed away like a tide. And it was a tide because it was water. Now, the ship is capsized, and the wreck is still capsized to this day, and is in pretty good shape. Now, two ships, the Lady Evelyn and Eureka, were sent from a lighthouse off on the shores of the St. Lawrence River, and they were sent out. I believe the Eureka made it on time, however, Lady Evelyn did not make it on time for the Empress of Ireland. However, it did pick up survivors, and any survivors that were on the Storstad were, I believe, changed over to the Lady Evelyn and Eureka that were brought to the lighthouse and would later be brought into the city where the lighthouse was, where I believe it was called Father's Point. Now, the Lady Evelyn and Eureka were two small mail steamers that were, I guess, working around there at the lighthouse at the time, and they were able to come when they heard a SOS call from the Empress of Ireland. And like I said, the Storstad was blamed in court, I believe, the crew, as the Empress of Ireland whistled 3 whistles for a chime, and that was to signal a maneuver to cross to starboard, like a usual crossing paths would have happened. However, Storstad whistled back, but I believe 2 times or maybe, but it wasn't following the right rules, and it attempted to pass to port. Because of the fog, they didn't see the right positions, which is why the Empress of Ireland and Storstad whistled maneuvers. However, I believe the Empress of Ireland was the one to whistle the correct maneuvers, and I'm not sure what happened with the Storstad's whistling maneuvers. So that's pretty much it for talking about the Empress of Ireland. I don't know when the next disaster video for a ship will be. However, I believe sometime in July I will talk about the Andrea Doria, which is similar to the Empress of Ireland. Now, the Storstad would be the Stockholm in the Andrea Doria's case, and Andrea Doria would be the Empress of Ireland. However, this was in the 1950s, I believe, 1956. I forget what day it was in July exactly, but you will see when that video comes out. So that should be in about 2 months around. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed this video. Some of this information that I've talked about was learned from the Great Big Moves Empress of Ireland video, so I'll leave that link in the description, so yeah, so you can go check that video out and other videos of his. So that's where some of the information from this video was learned, so you can check out his and after you check out mine. Please like the video and subscribe to my channel. I'll see you next time with another video.